Epic Falls was a beautiful town, surrounded by lush green forests and tall mountains. The town was small, with only a few hundred people living there. But despite its beauty, there was a deep fear in the hearts of everyone who lived in Epic Falls. The fear was because of the river. At the edge of the town, a crystal-clear waterfall cascaded down from the mountains into a river. The waterfall was stunning, and the river looked calm and inviting. But the people of Epic Falls knew better. They knew the river was dangerous, a place where people disappeared. For as long as anyone could remember, the river had been known as the Eating River. It was said that once every few years, someone who went swimming in the river would vanish without a trace. No one knew where they went or why it happened. They simply disappeared. The first person to vanish had been a young man named Jason. He was strong and fearless, and he loved to swim. One hot summer day, Jason went to the river to cool off. He was seen diving into the water, but he was never seen again. The town searched for him, but there was no sign of Jason. It was as if the river had swallowed him whole. After Jason, there were others. A woman named Mirinda, who was known for her love of nature, went to the river one afternoon and was never seen again. Then there was Peter, a fisherman who knew the river better than anyone. He too vanished one day while fishing in his small boat. Each disappearance added to the fear that gripped Epic Falls. The townspeople avoided the river, warning their children to stay away. They whispered about the river's curse, telling stories of how it ate those who ventured too close. The fear was so strong that even the bravest people in town would not go near the water. They believed the river was cursed, that something evil lurked beneath its surface. The water, once clear and inviting, now seemed dark and ominous. No one dared to swim in it, and even fishing was done from the safety of the shore. But despite the fear, there was also curiosity. The mystery of the river was something that haunted the people of Epic Falls. They wanted to know why it happened. They wanted to understand the secret of the Eating River. In the evenings, when the sun dipped below the mountains, the people would gather in the town square to talk. They would share their theories about the river, trying to make sense of the disappearances. "I think it's the water," one old man said. "Maybe there's something in it, something that pulls people down." "No," said a woman who had lived in Epic Falls her whole life. "It's not the water, it's what's under the water. There's something there, something we can't see." Others believed it was a curse. They spoke of an ancient legend, a story passed down from their ancestors. According to the legend, the river was once a sacred place, guarded by powerful spirits. But many years ago, the spirits were angered by something the people had done. To punish them, the spirits cursed the river, taking anyone who entered it. The younger people in town were the most curious. They grew up hearing the stories, but they wanted answers. They wondered if the disappearances were just accidents, or if there was really something more to it. Some of them even thought about going to the river to see for themselves, but the fear always held them back. As the years passed, the fear and curiosity grew stronger. The Eating River was a mystery that no one could solve, a dark shadow over the town of Epic Falls. People kept their distance, but they couldn't stop thinking about it. They couldn't stop wondering what really happened to those who disappeared. One day, a group of friends decided they had had enough of the fear. They were tired of living in a town where everyone was too scared to go near the river. They wanted to know the truth, to uncover the mystery once and for all. These friends, Jerry, Mary, Eddie, and Tom, were determined to solve the riddle of the Eating River. They spent their days talking about the river, planning how they would investigate it. They wanted to understand why people disappeared, and they were willing to take the risk. But before they could begin their investigation, they needed to learn more about the river's history. They started by talking to the oldest people in town, hoping to find clues about what might be causing the disappearances. They visited old Mrs. Thompson, who had lived in Epic Falls for over 80 years. She remembered the first time someone disappeared. She was just a little girl then, but she had never forgotten it. "I remember Jason," Mrs. Thompson said, her voice trembling. "He was so young, so full of life. When he vanished, The whole town was in shock. We searched and searched, but we never found him. That's when the fear began. Jerry, the leader of the group, asked Mrs. Thompson if she knew anything about the legend of the cursed river. Mrs. Thompson nodded slowly. "Yes, I've heard the legend," she said. "My grandmother used to tell me the story. She said the river was once a sacred place, and the spirits who guarded it were angered by something the people did. No one knows what it was, but the spirits cursed the river. Since then, it has taken people, one by one." Eddie, the most skeptical of the group, wasn't convinced. "It's just a story," he said. "There has to be a logical explanation." Mary, who had always been fascinated by mysteries, wasn't so sure. "Maybe there's more to the story," she said. "Maybe the legend is based on something real, something we don't understand." Tom, the quietest of the group, had a strange feeling about the river. He had always felt uneasy around it, even though he had never gone near the water. "I don't know," he said softly. "I think we need to be careful." Despite their different opinions, the friends agreed that they needed to learn more. They decided to visit the town's library to search for old records, hoping to find anything that might explain the river's dark past. As they walked to the library, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. The town felt different, as if the very air was thick with tension. The friends were determined to solve the mystery, but they couldn't ignore the fear that had gripped their town for so long. They knew that whatever they found, it would change Epic Falls forever.